Hi guys, thanks for joining us with Leisure Life Live today. I'm Tana Jolly.
And I'm Veronica Palmer.
And we're going to share a great new craft with you today, punch needle. And it's really not new, it's really actually old, from the 1840s when people made their own rugs. And they made them out of scraps and they cut up old pieces of fabric. But it's really cool. That's really back and it's trending now, done in really great colors. And we worked with a great artist, Bernice Robert from France. She's a scientific journalist in France, and her hobby is punch needle. And these are really cool projects from this book. Punch needle, as I said, has a long history, and it's right now people are doing it with bulky weight yarn and the lightweight yarn, and it has two very different feelings to the project. And these projects are all done with bulky weight yarn, and they are super fast to complete because of the size of the yarn and the coverage of the yarn. And you can see she's used some really great color palettes. So we've got a pillow that's really awesome. And this could easily be made bigger. Just expand your design to make it a rug for your bathroom or for next to the bed, so your feet are nice and cozy when you get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, and what I love about these projects is they look really, really complicated. It looks like you did all sorts of fancy stitches, but it's just the same thing. Once you've climbed that learning curve, you're just basically doing the same thing over and over and over again.
You are, and it's easy to transfer. It's easy to work with the patterns. They're not really intricate. So there's wide open spaces in the patterns. As you can see, it shows you where to do loops and where to do flat stitches. So basically you would just transfer these onto your fabric in an outline, and then just follow along and fill your spaces. And you can pick your own color palettes, or you can follow what Bernice has done in her patterns. And the great thing about this book is it starts you off as a beginner, and it talks you through what fabrics to use, it talks you through what yarns to use, it talks you through what needles to use. So you can start from knowing absolutely nothing about punch needle to being an expert.
Right, it's really that progressive learning technique where you start really simply. You start with maybe one of these simple projects like these cool coasters, and then you can progress your way up to a bigger project.
Right. So it is one of those things where you can work it on different kinds of fabric. So you can make this happen on a jacket that you own already. So basically this was done with the lighter weight yarn, or you can do it with embroidery floss, and it makes a beautiful addition to a piece of clothing. And we made some little hat pins here, so you can make really small, intricate pieces, but those go really, really fast because it's really not very many stitches in that piece. She's got this very cool handbag, and it feels like carpet, guys. It's really soft, and it's got cool space inside, but it's really, the construction of it is really nice because it's got a lot. It's built from a lot of yarn, so it's got a very cool handle on it. I'd carry that.
Yeah, and that's what's great about these pieces. And all of this book is actually part of our September Stunners giveaway as well. So we showed you just a couple of these pieces last week, but this week we really wanted to dig in and show you every single pattern and project in this book is a stunner.
It is. She's done some baby pieces. As you can see, this little guy is really cute. He's a little penguin, and it'd make a great addition to the nursery. This would be great, this little fox, to hang on the wall. Again, I can't say enough how easy these things are to complete. We were going to show you guys a little bit about the needles. We use the larger weight yarn. So what you have basically is a threader. So you insert your threader into the needle, and I will probably fumble, but then you, just like any needle threader, you put your yarn through the end of the threader, and then you pull that through the needle, and then you take it out of the threader and you thread it through the eye of the needle, and you're ready to go. If I can get it out of the threader.
While you're doing that, Chris Lopez's mother has done many punch needle projects.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was her favorite project?
Comment below for a chance to win.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to give away the book and some fabric, a hoop, and a needle in this giveaway today. So the more questions we get, the more chances you have of winning. So this one's threaded. So this one just has one. This needle is not adjustable. This one has one height. Okay, so you push this needle all the way through your fabric, and you move on to make your stitches, and it makes one pile height. Okay, these other needles that we're showing you can extend your needle, so your needle can be shorter, so they're adjustable. You can make your needle really short or much longer, if I can make the thing work, right? So there it is gone. There it is very short to make something that's very short. This one is the one that you use with embroidery floss. And then this one is for the heavier, and it's adjustable. So again, you can make a really long loop, or you make a shorter loop with the same needle.
And you can see the different loops in this wall hanging, for example. You can kind of see how these are more flat around the edges, and then in the center those loops are bigger. You can also see it in that pillow over there. I think there are probably 3 different heights on that pillow, so that's probably a good one. That coral color is more of a shaggy, and has the longer loops, whereas the cream in the top corner has more of the medium, and then that pink is really more flat, so you can see the differences.
These stitches that are the flatter stitches are called flat stitches, and they're worked from the top of the fabric. The loop, this is actually shag, and you actually cut this, but these are the same thing. You just leave the loops, but you work that from the back of the fabric when you work these. So all of the flat stitches on the charts you use the lines for the flat stitches, and all of the loops you work from the back of the fabric, and you either cut the loop or leave the loop as it is.
And then the shags are indicated by the X's.
Right.
So they've done a great job in this pattern to really show you the differences in each part. So then you can just use a pencil and just mark it, as Tana was talking about earlier. So it really does take you through that entire process.
Chris Lopez says purple cows.
Oh.
She went to a restaurant in California called the Purple Cow. Isn't that a coincidence?
We actually have a chain of restaurants
We do.
here called the Purple Cow.
So her mother made purple cows.
Nice. Yeah, my daughter, every year when she was little, she wanted to go to the Purple Cow on her birthday and have a purple sundae or a purple milkshake.
Well, they have fantastic hamburgers and french fries. I love those guys.
They are great.
So the other thing I wanted to show you guys is you can do small pieces. So this one is very small and takes very little time, but it's very cool.
There's another.
This is the set. So we've made a little wall hangings out of these. Those patterns are in the book. This one is also in this craft, it's all about texture. So that's why you've got some flat stitches, you've got some shag and some loop, and this one you've got just a little bit of glitter thread. So gives it that much more dimension. And I think those things are what really appeal to a certain market and just kind of light up your home.
Right, and it's the difference in the textures and the difference in the shapes. In this one, we even have, just the long tassels here. And I think we were talking before the show that this actually is put on with a latch hook. Is that right?
It is. This one, this fringe was adhered to this with a latch hook. So this is actually knotted, which brings us to a little bit of, and a lot of times I get the question, what's the difference between latch hook and punch needle?
Right.
And I have a little bit of latch hook here that I can show you guys the difference. Everybody may know, but it is a question we get a lot. The fabric for latch hook is very much different than the fabric that we use for punch needle. Punch needle is done with Aida or hardanger, or a fabric that has not a really tight weave but an even weave. And so so you can get that in a lot of different places in a lot of different colors. But latch hook is a very different fabric. It is this type of grid, and the tool is very different. This is very much like a crochet hook, where the punch needle is really a threaded needle. So basically with latch hook, what you do is you just work through the holes and pull your thread through, and this stuff is actually knotted. So they are in place for good on the fabric when you're done. What we wanted to tell you newcomers to punch needle about punch needle is that that's not knotted into your fabric.
Right.
It is basically woven into your fabric, and there's really nothing holding it there other than the end of the loop. So there's no knots anywhere. So you have to be very careful when you're starting. You'll get frustrated because all of that will pull out as you're working if you don't start and leave enough of a loop on the bottom to hold your loops in. So Veronica and I were testing that out before we got started today, and we had trouble. We had to call in an expert because we had a little trouble getting them to stay in the fabric. So I feel like that's probably one of the things that beginners have a little bit of difficulty with.
Right, because it's more of that weaving action, and you're really just weaving the fabric through the thread. You're weaving the yarn through the fabric, so you're not actually knotting anything. Whereas the latch hook is actually like every single piece of thread has a knot, so you know it's on there when you get done.
Right. This craft works like cross stitch or anything else. You need to have the tension on your fabric tight, so you need to work in a hoop. If you're working on a big project, you're probably going to want to start out with a bigger hoop, because this is a little bit more difficult to move your hoop around in than something else might be. For instance, on this pillow, if you had a 6-inch hoop, you would be moving your hoop around and covering up some of your stitches as you move your hoop around. So I would probably start with a much bigger hoop to work on something of that size. Again, a hoop this size would probably be better. Some of these smaller projects you can work with a 6-inch hoop because you'd never have to move your hoop around. Trying to put a hoop on this heavy yarn and then work next to it would probably prove a little bit difficult. But these projects make really nice small projects. So you just make this piece of fabric a little bit bigger than what you're going to punch, and then sew it into the little zipper pouch.
Mm-hmm. Another tip we got from our expert, Mary, hello Mary, if you're watching, shout out, is when you move directions, so once you get to the end of a row, you actually move your hoop instead of moving your direction.
Instead of moving your needle.
Right, instead of moving your needle and having your needle move directions, you actually move your hoop. And Bernice is actually going to do a Teach Me Tuesday segment in December. So she will get a little more technical. As you can see, she has a little more expertise than we do.
She does.
She actually has a beautiful Instagram page too. If you go check her out, she always has a lot of fun inspiration. And like Tana talked about earlier, she has beautiful color palettes.
She does.
So she will be here in December to show you guys really the technical ins and outs. So we're just here to inspire you and give you some tips and tricks, but she'll really delve deeper into that.
The transferring of the patterns is pretty easy to do with the light source. All you have to do is put your pattern down on a light source, and you can most of the time see through. And the book tells you this, but most of the time if you have a light source underneath your fabric, you can see enough to draw your pattern onto your fabric. She also gives you tips on how to use the bigger square frames for tension for your fabric. So there's lots of options for getting your fabric to the right tension. She goes through all of the things about your flat stitches, your loop stitches, and your shag stitches on exactly how to make those. And the good things about what we're trying to do in our newer books is give you step out photography that gives you do this first, and here's your second step, and here's your third step. So Bernice has done a really good job of illustrating that for the beginners. So I think you guys who've never done punch needle before, this is a great book for you to get your start with.
You're definitely in good hands with Bernice. She's got some great step out photography in there. It's really, you have that step 1, step 2, step 3, how to get your design on your fabric. Every step of the way, she's got you covered.
She's given you some finishing tips, and so how to wrap your fabric around the edge of a frame and staple it down. So she's got she's got some sewing techniques in this as well for how to put your zipper pouch together. So it's pretty complete. And the other thing we wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about, and we don't have one to show you today, is we've got 3 punch needle kits that are going to be on the market at the end of the year, and we're really happy about those. I can't tell you right now which retailers, but we'll do some marketing on that soon, so you guys can look out for those. They are abstract designs that really go well with any decor. So they make great Christmas gifts. They make great birthday gifts, and they're easy projects to complete.
Right, and they're part of our mini maker line, so it's that bite-sized craft experience where you're going to have everything you want to complete your project in one area, in one space. So everything in your kit is going to let you make that one finished project. So we're excited about those, and we're excited about this book. A couple ways to win the book. The first way is to enter our September Stunners giveaway. You can win a whole series of books, and then comment below to win this book and a few tools to get you started as well.
That's right.
So 2 ways to win. Comment below.
Do we have any questions, Mark?
Can you do this on cotton cloth? I feel like you could. Okay, that's the one I thought.
You definitely can, because you can do this. You can do this on your own clothing. So it's just one of those things where you just have to be careful not to use a fabric that you're going to pull the fabric with the needle when you're moving the needle in and out of the fabric. I'm trying to think of a fabric that will do that, like rayon. Like if you stick a needle, like if I use a safety pin, which I use commonly because my clothes are falling apart half the time, I like safety pin, here, get my safety pin. But on some fabrics, when you put the pin through, you pull the fabric.
Right.
You cannot do these things on that type of fabric, but cotton fabric will be fine.
Denim is great.
Yeah.
Anything with an even weave.
Anything with an even weave, that's right.
Any more comments?
We're doing good today. We're really glad that you guys joined us. It's always fun to be with you on Thursdays. Not sure what's coming up next week. What's coming up next week?
So on Tuesday, we have another designer from our Quilted Wall Hangings book. That will be Stephanie. So Stephanie's going to join us and show us some of the wall hangings that she participated in. And then next Thursday, we're going to talk about holiday diamond art.
Yay!
So we are excited. I know that we talked about NFL diamond art a few weeks ago. So so next week is holiday diamond art. So we are excited to show you some of the holiday designs. I know we kind of showed, we did a sneak peek before they came in, but they are all in now. And so we are going to dive a little deeper into that.
It's time to get started on those holiday projects, guys. Has anybody counted how long it is till Christmas? I don't know. I haven't yet, but I'm afraid that it's coming soon.
Well, and that's why with the September Stunners, we really tried to choose all different types of projects across all the different types of skills that really are those stunning projects. And I think stunning projects make great gifts.
They do.
So you can make them for yourselves or you can make them for other people. So check our social media, check our emails. All month long, we have a dedicated blog to our September Stunners. Of course, this is one. I mean, it's why we chose to do a deep dive on this book because, like I said, every project in here is a stunner. It's not just one or two.
We're trying to stay on top of trends, guys. We've got some resin coming up. We've got some tie-dye coming up. We've got some good stuff to show you. So be sure to join us next week.
Happy crafting, everyone.
See you later.